Hello everybody, it's your boy the Chaotic One and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are going to be fantasy rebooking the Nexus's run in 2010. So obviously the first thing we have to do is the Nexus wins at Summerslam. Absolutely. Also, the Nexus does not break up in real life. They had, Wade Barrett banishing people. No, the Nexus are strong, they are brotherhood, they stick together. Michael Tarver, Skip Sheffield, they'll be out with an injury, so there's going to be 6 members of Nexus to deal with. Also at SummerSlam, I would have Rey Mysterio beat Kane for the World Heavyweight Championship, and have Undertaker and Kane just feud without the belt. So at Night of Champions, we would have Wade Barrett versus John Cena. If John Cena loses, he leaves the WWE for the rest of the year. You can't say he leaves WWE permanently because nobody's going to believe that. So you might as well say, just have him leave for the rest of the year. Of course, Wade Barrett wins this, and since we're taking Barrett and Cena out of the main event, we're just going to have it be a Fatal 4-Way match, a standard Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Championship, and Randy Orton wins, pinning Edge. I would also have the Hart Dynasty face off against Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater for the tag titles. I would have Slater and Gabriel win the tag titles on this night, clean as a whistle. We would also have The Miz defending the U.S. Championship against Daniel Bryan, who was still a heel. We're having The Miz be a tweener here, and Daniel Bryan beats him, also clean. We're going to have the Nexus look like beasts tonight. We have Dolph Ziggler defending the Intercontinental Championship against Darren Young, Dolph also being a tweener. And we would have Darren Young beat Dolph Ziggler, winning the Intercontinental Championship. And you guys are going to think this is going to be a bit controversial. I would have Rey Mysterio versus David Otunga. David Otunga would be a piss bitch of a heel. He would be perfect. People would hate him. He would think he's better than everyone else was world champion. He's perfect. He's green. However, we put him in with these veterans and have them and tell these veterans like Rey Mysterio, hey, I want you to teach David Otunga as much as you want, as much as you can, going into this rivalries. Can you do that? And these veterans absolutely will. They will teach David Otunga a lot, and David Otunga will absolutely be an upper mid-carder after this, since he's become world champion. And of course, like I said, David Otunga would beat Rey Mysterio. Not clean, he would grab the tights, but he would win the world championship. So the Nexus now all have world titles around their waist, except Wade Barrett, but of course Wade Barrett says this is all planned. And going into Hell in a Cell, we have the Nexus defending all the championships, and Wade Barrett even gets to go face off against the WWE champion. We have the Nexus, Slater and Gabriel defending the tag titles against the Hart Dynasty. Gabriel and Slater win. Daniel Bryan defending the U.S. Championship against John Morrison in a Falls Count Anywhere submission match. Daniel Bryan wins with the help of the Nexus because it's anything goes, so Daniel Bryan is going to beat the shit out of John Morrison with the help of the Nexus. Dolph Ziggler gets a rematch against Darren Young. Darren Young wins. David Otunga and Rey Mysterio enter Hell in a Cell, and David Otunga is beating Rey Mysterio like a government mule throughout the match, making him look tough, making him look strong. David Otunga retains the championship. And the final match, the main event for the WWE Championship inside the Hell in a Cell structure, Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett. It's a tough match, it's a good match. However, Wade Barrett beats Randy Orton clean as a whistle. Also, I would have another match. I would have Sheamus versus Kofi Kingston in a number 1 contenders match for a future title shot. In the distant future, they'll be told when, and I would have Kofi Kingston beat Sheamus. So, don't worry, there's a method to my madness. On Monday Night Raw, on the lead up to bragging rights, Wade Barrett says he doesn't care about Raw, he doesn't care about SmackDown. He wants to prove that Nexus is the better choice, and he is declaring war against Raw and SmackDown for bragging rights. And so it's a 3-way. It's kind of like Survivor Series that one year where it was Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. But we're going to have the Nexus pitch a shutout tonight. We're going to have Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre versus Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel versus Vladimir Kozlov and Santino Marella. Gabriel and Slater retain the tag titles. For the U.S. Championship, we have R-Truth versus Daniel Bryan versus Alberto Del Rio. Daniel Bryan wins. For the Intercontinental Championship, we would have MVP, Darren Young, Dolph Ziggler. Darren Young retains. For the World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk, who we're bringing in to teach David Otunga some mic skills, would face off against him and Rey Mysterio in a triple threat match. I think this would be a pretty good match. David Otunga retains. And the main event, Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett versus Edge. Randy Orton and Edge would be having a rivalry going forward because their egos are too big. They both want the title. Wade Barrett wins this match. And we would also have Kane and The Undertaker be the main event here. The main event after the WWE title match. In the Buried Alive match, we would have the Nexus still help Kane bury The Undertaker. I actually have a reason for why this is staying. Okay, going on to Survivor Series, nothing really too special here. Slater and Gabriel will face off against Kozlov and Morella. They retain. Darren Young Daniel Bryan will face off against Ted DiBiase Jr. for the U.S. Championship. This would be a pretty good match, but I would have Daniel Bryan retain. We have Darren Young versus Loki. And shockingly, people are going to think Darren Young is going to win. There are many, close calls where Darren Young's grabbing the tights, the Nexus are getting involved. But Loki wins the Intercontinental Championship and actually gives him something to do in WWE. So maybe he stays in the company longer afterwards. So he is now the Intercontinental Champion. We also have David Otunga facing off against Randy Orton and Edge. After, Wade Barrett dealt with him, he's like, David, deal with them. And since Randy Orton and Edge are too occupied with themselves, David Otunga sneakily retains the title. So just have Randy Orton and Edge be the new mentors of David Otunga. So David Otunga is probably learning the most out of everyone in the Nexus because he probably needs it the most. And the main event, Kofi Kingston finally gets his match for the WWE Championship, and he is screwed out after the Nexus distract him, cause distractions, hit him with stuff like a chair or something, and Wade Barrett retains. Now, it's the new year, it's January, the first Raw of the new year, and John Cena returns. But he's not going after Wade Barrett. No, he's going after David Otunga, saying that he's been running his mouth nonstop, and he's been sitting at home waiting to come back in the beginning of this year, and he wants to shut David Otunga up once and for all. And plus, I thought when I was younger, David Otunga and John Cena as a pairing, they had good chemistry, and I think we should continue that in this timeline. And the Royal Rumble, things are starting to fall apart for the Nexus. We have Slater and Gabriel defending tag titles against Kozlov and Morella, and Santino Marella gets a shock roll-up on Heath Slater, and he wins the tag titles for his team. A big upset a big upset loss for the Nexus. Daniel Bryan will face off against Zack Ryder, and this is a good match. Daniel Bryan wins clean as a whistle. He shakes Zack Ryder's hand, teasing a face turn for Daniel Bryan. Next up, we have Loki versus Darren Young, and yes, I know they called him Caval in WWE, but I'm calling him Loki because that's what I know him by. And Loki defeats Darren Young, also another good match. David Otunga faced off against John Cena. It's a good test of strength, a good match, but John Cena beats David Otunga. And then we have Wade Barrett versus Kofi Kingston. If the Nexus get involved, Wade Barrett loses the title. Wade Barrett does everything he can to win this match, and he eventually does, retaining the WWE Championship. We now go towards the Royal Rumble match, and coming in at number 30, the Nexus's worst nightmare, Gong the Undertaker. The Undertaker returns after being buried alive, and he is here with a vengeance. He eliminates all the members of the Nexus still in the match and everyone else, and he wins his second Royal Rumble, setting up a match at WrestleMania between Wade Barrett and The Undertaker, which, by the way, was one of the plans for The Undertaker at WrestleMania, but I think Wade Barrett got injured. So, there you go. And on Raw the next night, the Nexus had their worst night ever last night. He says, the Nexus has become weak. It's like I'm the only one who can do things without help. You guys are all worthless, yada, yada, yada. And the Nexus, they're kind of go their separate ways. David Otunga becomes a tweener. He's more so a heel. Darren Young, Daniel Bryan, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, they're baby faces. And going into Elimination Chamber, we have an all-Nexus Chamber match. David Otunga, Wade Barrett, Darren Young, Daniel Bryan, Heath Slater, and Justin Gabriel. And absolutely, we have Daniel Bryan and Justin Gabriel start this chamber off. Darren Young is the first one to go, then Heath Slater, then Gabriel, then David Otunga, leaving the final two being Wade Barrett versus Daniel Bryan, and Wade Barrett wins this match, retaining the WWE Championship. However, he's got to look forward to WrestleMania, where he has to face off against The Undertaker. And it's a series of mind games. The Undertaker's playing mind games with him, saying, "You can't kill a dead man." It's more cryptic imagery of being buried alive and all that. And so we're going to talk about other matches on the WrestleMania 27 card, because things are changing. Loki would be defending the Intercontinental Championship against Alberto Del Rio. And I know this wouldn't happen, but I would have Loki retain, because fuck Alberto Del Rio. Loki retains. It would be a pretty good match for WrestleMania. I would have this be the opener. We would have The Miz versus Rey Mysterio, just a throwaway rivalry match. I would have The Miz win, for reasons I will reveal here in a second. Next up, Randy Orton and Edge, the culmination of their rivalry that's been expanding ever since SummerSlam, where they would be butting heads in that Nexus tag match. And Edge would win, ending the rivalry, unless you want it to continue, but Edge might still get injured, so you might not be able to. Triple H versus Cody Rhodes, an interesting match, but I think we could pull it off. You could have Triple H come out and said he's done everything in WWE, and Cody Rhodes, being his, undashing, says Triple H needs a makeover, disrespecting the game. But I would have Cody Rhodes win this match. It would be a good rub for Cody Rhodes, and you would probably give him the Money in the Bank briefcase at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Next up, John Cena versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match should have been a WrestleMania match eventually, and I would give it to CM Punk. I would give him the world title. You don't really need to give John Cena the world title, and I would just have John Cena then go into a feud with The Miz afterwards, or maybe Wade Barrett, one of the two, has Cena, I'll explain here in a little bit what I would do. And finally, the main event of the show, Wade Barrett versus The Undertaker for the WWE Championship. It's a good match. Wade Barrett doesn't have anyone to back him up. Bullhammer, Wasteland, over and over again. Chokeslam, he kicks out. It is a great match. Wade Barrett is doing everything he can to try to put the dead man down and break his streak, but The Undertaker eventually hits him with the tombstone. 1, 2, 3, and The Undertaker has one last ride with the WWE Championship. But it doesn't last long, as the next night on Raw, Wade Barrett attacks The Undertaker, beats him down, he leaves the ring, and then, awesome! The Miz comes down with his Money in the Bank briefcase. Remember, he never cashed it in, and he pins The Undertaker 1, 2, 3 to become the WWE Championship. And from here, you can do one of two things. Until SummerSlam, you can have The Miz go on and feud with either John Morrison, John Cena, or Wade Barrett, or you can have Wade Barrett go on and feud with John Cena and have The Miz and John Morrison do their thing. And then come around SummerSlam, you can either have Wade Barrett and The Undertaker have a match at SummerSlam as a blow-off to their feud, or you can have The Miz defend the WWE Championship against The Undertaker. Really depends on what you want to do. So, how did you think of this booking? Do you think it was bad? Do you think I just copied other people? Do you think I should have done better? What should I book next, though? Tell me down in the comments below. Don't forget to follow my Twitter at Chaotic247. This is the Chaotic One saying, peace.